How's it going, Leo community? Soul Tigers here with a special story for this special frequency. First off, let me start this video by saying thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience as I navigate this story between the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and everything in between. Now, with that being said, this is a safe and sacred space where we call in the angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy to come on in and be the guides and protectors for all the positive messages that are going to come out. Now, keep in mind, this is not love tarot. What this channel is geared around is self-empowerment. And what that means to me is us building our stepping stones to getting closer to our soul being, which helps align us with a higher power. So, Leo, what is going on in the vibe today for you? Lost, confused, feeling all tied up. Not knowing what to do or what to believe anymore. Exhausted and burnt out from the outside chaos versus your own internal chaos. When is the last time you have had rest, Leo? Like real rest. Like being able to actually take the world off of your shoulders for a bit type of rest. Rest from distractions and life's burdens. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to actually laugh and enjoy the moment without needing something to help take the edge off? Leo, you may have ventured too far thinking that you need certain things in your life to help you get through your days. The biggest gift and tool you can give yourself is permission. Permission to do a bunch of nothing. Permission for you to rest. When you rest, that's when your body starts to recover. Your mind can start to recover. This is when your body starts to work on itself. And I'm being led to see how the mind gets busy at times too, but that's moments of reflection right there. Sometimes this is hard, especially when we have restless minds. But it's essential. The mind is plagued with fears at this moment. The very fears, when faced, could help you, Leo, release the guilt and the resentment that has been building up around different things in your life that have happened. But before we face anything, Leo, you must rest. That is important. I mean, when we think about all the trends and the fitness trend and how in order to get anywhere, say with your body, you're supposed to go. No, actually, it's forcing your body to go all the time. That can create more injuries, that can create burnout as well. And when you start to burn out, you start to lose your spark for enjoying life, being able to see the lessons, being able not only to see the lessons and learning from the lessons, but being able to count your blessings, being able to be grateful for the things that you have built from then until now type of thing. So rest right now, Leo, is what's coming out so far. That is very, very important. Don't think it's just something that's going to make you lazy. Again, if rest wasn't essential, do you think your job would give you a break? No, they put it up in the laws when it comes to employers and stuff like that. Again, because rest is essential. How can you give yourself permission to be able to rest too? Alright, so let's get started with this introduction. I've really been feeling this energy oracle wanting to be used by your guides and ancestors as the deck for the introduction. So what needs to come out, ancestors, spirit guides, for the Leo? Ooh. There's something that you're at odds ends with when it comes to deceit. Feeling like somebody has deceived you. It has to do with some third chakra energy right here. And the third chakra energy is out of balance right now. It could be that it's clogged up, and this is your solar plexus energy. This is the energy of confidence, personal power, joy, self-discipline, and motivation. But when it's out of balance, it is low self-esteem, it's lack of control, it's insecurity, and it's procrastination. Something here, I don't know if there's something with the number 25 and something with the number 37. Don't know. But if that rings a bell or something. Let's see. Something else you're at odds ends with is walking away. Something that is here though. I don't know if you understand this. And this makes sense when I was talking about the blessings, for you to be able to see your blessings. We have the cornucopia here. If we know anything about Capricorn energy, there is a wealth in Capricorn energy, but it's energy that has, or wealth, excuse me, it's wealth that has to be worked for. It's the things that we practice. So there's something here though that you are really thrown off about. Maybe you're not really seeing your success. Maybe you're seeing your success that you've had as it being something that has to maybe do with the deceit, that has to do with your procrastination on something, that has to do with how you were confused on how you walked away from something to get to your success, your cornucopia. The walking away card is 27 and the cornucopia is 11 for anybody. Alright, the last few cards to come out. What you were trying to do, it looks like, and what you were confused on is how you went to a certain energy, a certain stability. A stability maybe that you thought could help take care of others, or maybe it was a stability in a sense that helped take care of you. There's something here that has to do with that deceit, you know, and it has to do with how you are really feeling like insecure about your past decisions. It has to do with the community. I don't know if a community that you walked away from, if this is that community, or a community that you walked to. And then what we have in reverse is a woman holding a heart. So this would depict the Queen of Wands energy here. So there could have been a past that you had to walk away from somebody who was very combative, from somebody who was very, very dramatic. This could be a person, place, and or thing, because we can have workplaces that are very dramatic. We can have those kind of communities who can even be combative. The community 7, the woman holding the coin is 42, and we have the woman holding the heart in reverse as 44. I don't know, but this woman who's holding the heart, you felt like she was always focused on your success. Like she could have been high maintenance as well. Whoever this one that was really combative, this workplace that was very drama, kind of had a lot of drama there. But what I see is you're laying out that there has to do with deceit. Wherever this drama was in this community, there was some kind of deceit going on. And there was things that you procrastinated on here. But the whole thing is, you don't know how to look at the deceit. You don't know how to look at the procrastination. and you don't know how to look at your choices of walking away. And the whole thing is you were trying to do what most people were trying to do. They're trying to build their success. I don't see that you walked away because you wanted to be a jerk. I see that you wanted to work hard for something. Alright, angels and ancestors. What is it that needs to be brought out for the present, for the Leo frequency? What is it? You know, Leo, for some reason, even when I was dialing in, I keep wanting to say Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces energy. Pisces is 12th house. This is ending an old cycle, but also preparing for a new. Maybe there's something here that you have to put to an end. Maybe it's a certain view. Maybe it's a certain perspective. And it could have to do with these others, because we have the 7 of Wands land on the community. Land under this walking away. There's something here. You know, you could have felt surrounded. It could have been very encasing. Maybe it was an area in your life where you... What I get is like AA meetings here with this card right now, with this interpretation. So maybe it was a very toxic environment here that was riddled with stuff. And maybe you felt like if you stood in this environment with this community, that you would always be stuck in this kind of circle, dealing with these kind of problems of addiction and stuff. Because that's what I keep seeing when I look at this 7 of Wands here. Then I have the High Priestess. So we're not really feeling the love. We're not feeling well read up on things, especially when it comes to our empire. How we handle things. Could have been these very things in the past. Yep, look at that. Judgment's in reverse here. So Judgment represents quite a few cards. We have Sagittarius with the IC. We have Libra with the I balance. We have Leo here with the I will, and Aries here with I am. So I am, I will, I balance, and I see. So there could be something that is coming to light right now, that you're looking at this past now from a different view. But because you handle things differently, you're interpreting the way you used your will. It could be from you're being hard on yourself. You're being hard on yourself basically for the choices that you made. You're feeling like, you know, maybe it was because of these choices, how I used my free will, that everything got so unbalanced here. But what I get here is it was a toxic environment. It was riddled with stuff that wasn't good for you. And that's interesting how that came out. So with whoever this was, when you walked away, it was to find your success, to find your kind of ideal outcome, the one that would have been where you were more in love with your environment, in love with where you're at, kind of thing. But it took having to put down some stuff. It took having to get out of the halls of illusions. It took bankrupting some things. It took you going in and looking at what you believed in, what you thought was possible for you in particular. All these cards come out pretty much in reverse, except for the moon. the Nine of Cups, the Seven of Wands so far. It took a lot of work to walk away. It took a lot of sacrifice. You lost a lot when it came down to material stuff when you walked away. It wasn't easy. It was not easy. And the moon represents, it is the Cancerian planet, but in tarot it represents Pisces. And remember, I kept telling you Pisces energy is here. So this is where it's at when you walked away. It was because you were trying to end an old version of yourself so that you could do something new with yourself. What I'm hearing directly from the Leo energy is right now with this deceit, all this stuff coming out, you're really wondering if it was the right moves to do. That's what I'm hearing, because at this moment, you don't feel like you handled business in your kingdom. You don't feel like it was the higher up kind of choices to make. It wasn't the, what I heard, and I'm non-dominant, but this is what I heard, and I quote, it wasn't the Christian thing to do. That's very interesting how that comes out. Because again, with the High Priestess here, we're talking about our beliefs, our imagination. And our imagination is tied to our beliefs as well. You know, it's something in the water this time, literally, Leo. It has to do with this new moon in Cancer, which is fifth house, no, fourth house, Leo's fifth house. But the fourth house is all about establishing foundations. Cancer energy is, I feel, it talks about the nurturing parent. It talks about how we like to be nurtured as well. It talks about giving birth, being impregnated, and it's not just from, you know, for reproductive purposes. It's being impregnated with new ideas, new ways of going kind of thing, and being able to give birth to those ideas is taking action towards it. That's what that is. And this is kind of where we're going with this new moon here. Is it's in the South Node energy. So this is challenging where we have set up our foundations, how we've set up our foundations when it comes to the emotional side of ourselves, our emotional being in our internal home. And what it is with this energy, it's a cardinal water energy. So it's the start to things. But then you have the full moon, which depicts the North Node energy. That is the venture that we're supposed to go to. That's the adventure that gets us to our life purpose kind of thing. And so that the full moon is in Capricorn. It's the buck moon this time around. And Capricorn energy. Again, it's the energy of wealth, but it's wealth that's worked for. Now, the thing between Cancer and Capricorn that's very interesting this time around, and this is why this is all hitting you the way it is with this chaos between your outside environment and your internal when it comes to your emotions, because this is a big emotional lesson that we need to go through this time so we can get to another level, an ascension, to where we release some of the old that's been burdening us, that's been tying us down, giving ourselves permission to release that. But with Capricorns, I was going to say, is they tend to run from their emotions. They will create the most distance. And with Cancers, they will withhold their emotions. One thing I've noticed about Cancerian energy is you never really know how a Cancer feels at the core. And right here, we need to explore both spectrums of that to our within ourselves, I should say, because Capricorn is a highly sensitive sign as well that not many people speak upon. Both of their planets represent big parts of us, parts where we like to be nurtured, parts that help influence us to have these breakthroughs of new ideas and going in new ways. And then with this one, it's all about being able to face our fears, challenging things, being able not to resist the change, but challenging the fears that make us resist the change, challenging the things that, make us run for things to make us feel secure in a sense, the coping mechanisms, the different tools. If you want a little bit more in-depth view into that, go check out my new moon in Cancerian and my full moon and Capricorn interpretation to get a little bit more in-depth view about how that's playing out this time around. But just know, Leos, that you are not the only one who's gonna go through this really emotional chaos for this month. It's something that's coming about because the divine wants us to ascend. It wants us to level up at this moment. We've learned about some of our truths, some of the ways that we want to go about things, some of our philosophies from last month, learning how to communicate better with ourselves. Now we're going to exercise those two things into this month by exploring our emotional side, being able to acknowledge our emotional being within. Yeah, so I mean, you were on cue with what you were doing back then, but right now you're really tied up on how to feel about it and even how to view it, and you're being really hard on yourself. It's okay, you're human. You are human. There are times even when I have to tell myself, when I look back on things, that was an old version of you that doesn't know what you know now. So just remember that. So one thing that you're very confused on, we've been talking about this, we have the Nine of Swords energy that lands on this judgment, that lands on your kingdom. The things that you felt, other things that you're confused on is how you did things with your diplomatic view, with trying to be fair kind of things. Your own transformations that you've had, the transformations where you were trying to do things a little bit better, maybe than what was done for you from way back in the day. And then we have the Six of Wands here. Six of Wands is all about group energy, and it's all about kind of you making the right moves and people seeing it, people cheering you on, people wanting to follow your example kind of energy. And there's something here that you feel like you kind of failed a group in a sense. That's what I get with that. Even though you were trying to alchemize things differently, you were trying to change things. You weren't the bad magician where you were trying to seek revenge on things, but you were the magician again who was trying to change what was into something better. It was your ideal outcome, your golden egg, I would say. And that's hard. That is hard with these truths that you're kind of facing, things that are being brought up, things that we can't look past anymore. It's hard. These hard truths, when people bring up stuff, people want to say things, and then when we go back and we're just like, what I did, was it right? Was it all wrong? Could I have changed something if I would have did something different? But you got to think of all the memories, all the wealth that you've built, all the experiences you got to have from then until now. And again, this is wealth that money can't buy. You have to see why you made the choices you made, and believing in yourself, believing that you had the good intentions, believing that you were trying to better yourself, better your outcome. And that's what I see here. I see that you checked into the things that you believe. I see that you've lost a lot. You lost a lot in this past to get away from this whatever community it was, because you wanted a more solid investment that would help take care of things. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, there's, like I said, when we look back to our past, we can definitely see things that we would have liked to do differently. But we can't go back to the past and change it. What we can do now is heal from it. See the different views that we have now versus the different view that we had back then. And see how we just were trying our best. Because if you have a cornucopia card here, it wasn't that you weren't trying your best. You worked hard for things. Just remember that nobody's perfect, and if life handed you the actual game book, then it wouldn't be an adventure. It wouldn't be a test to be able to get reconnected to yourself, reconnected to your soul being, reconnected to the divine. And this may be the test here. This may be the lesson that makes you reconnect. And understanding that all this had to happen for a reason. Everything played out the way it was supposed to for a reason. You built that wealth that you were looking for. You really did. Alright, so we're going to go into the block. Angels of Protection. Please help, guide, and protect us as we go through the block. So because I'm feeling like this is having to do with a lot of drama, we have What's the Tea Oracle here. So one thing we have that's interesting, I have talking shit in reverse, and it didn't even come out. It was just here like that. For some reason it was flipped this other way. Talking shit. We have girl fight in reverse, and I have an impersonator. So these are things that you're at odds ends with. You're at odds ends with what's being said around the block about things. You could feel like people are being combative with you, trying to be combative even with the things that they're saying about you. Now with this impersonator card, I really feel like with that, when you feel like somebody could be trying to play you, or this is what was happening in that community at one time. You were dealing with a lot of, it wasn't good energy, if this is what it was in the past versus the present. Whoever this community was, they were almost like a mocking kind of energy to you. Definitely very dramatic. But if you were to fight back, you would be looked at as the bad guy. And honestly, if I'm talking to a male Leo here, it could be one of those situations where in your past with this woman who was very combative, if this is a relationship where this person would egg you on to try and be combative with them so that they can point the finger and blame it. And this is where this impersonator card, I think, feels like it comes in. So this could be that past self. There was reasons why you walked away from this. There was reasons why you had to get out of these halls of illusions here. And then we have Into You in reverse. The whole thing is, I feel like you tried here. You tried to show this person support. You tried to really hold on to whatever this situation was in the past. Maybe it's a little bit why you wanted to transmute, alchemize, change up so many things when it came to when you finally walked away and what you were going to pursue then. Then I have Clout Hungry here. That one's a little interesting when it comes to the clout hungry. Whoever this person was that you dealt with in your past, I felt like they would make low blows to you. I felt like this person, you couldn't reach them to where they understood the higher meaning of things because they were too busy like a mouse. They could only see things that was close to them. So this person could have been really overly dramatic. Again, this person, place, or thing could have been really overly dramatic when it came to the reactions of things, and you couldn't like really understand why. And this is because they had like a little Mickey Mouse, I heard, kind of view. It was small, it was very close up, and they couldn't be able to see anything further than that. And this is interesting. Child services. You have child services in reverse that falls onto the wolves in sheep's clothing. This has to do with that chaos. This has to do with the chaos. This has to do with the regrets with the choices that were made. Child services may not have been involved. They may have been involved. You may be finding out stuff that where child services should have been involved so many years later. And you could be finding out about who it involves. And this is why you're upset on how everything has worked out, especially when it came to you leaving this situation. That's a lot. That is a lot to wear on your shoulders. That is a lot. That is enough to drive a person crazy. Because on one end, you were trying to make moves to help yourself, to get yourself better. And you were working towards something. You worked towards your goals. You worked really hard towards your goals. But now, all in this chaos that's happening in the present, you're finding out about things. Things that if you would have made different choices, you wonder if there would have been different outcomes. That's a hard one. That is a very, very hard one. The thing is you can't change the past. You can't change the choices you made. You can walk around beating yourself up, but you were in it to try and win at things. I mean, honestly, if this is coming up here, this is something that's bothering you. And if you would have known something back then, you definitely would have done something different. Because it bothers you. I see that. This bothers you. But you didn't know. I don't see anywhere that you knew. In life, we have certain variables that we face. And these variables we can't prevent. We can try our best to prevent them. But somehow they end up happening. And you did what you were supposed to do from then until now. So how can we go in and heal from this? How can we learn? How can we empower those who were affected? How can we be able to forgive ourselves for maybe not seeing? Because sometimes when you look back and you grew up, say, in a certain situation and you weren't exposed to certain things, so you didn't know. But now that you have grown so much and you've learned so much, and now that you look back on things, you're hearing about stuff, now you're like, oh, holy moly, that wasn't right, that wasn't okay. You know, that was a sign of something. The whole thing is, I have always mentioned this, is human behavior is always changing. And with the older generations, what happened in the home stood in the home. There wasn't parents who were really walking around at times and they're talking about the differences between good things and bad things when it came to the kids. In the older generations, there was this saying, kids were seen but not heard. And throughout the years, children have had a little bit more of a voice, but there are plenty of times in the older generations, children did not have a voice. Children did not have the confidence to speak up because they were always told that the adults were right. But now in this day and age, we have evolved more, especially when it comes to our emotions and how our emotions tie to ourselves and how they affect us. And here you have to understand that there has been a change in human behavior where things are talked about more. And this is okay. The fact is, if this, say the same thing that happened here, if it happened 30 years ago, whatever came up now that you're finding out about this deceit that you're at odds ends with, it wouldn't have came out back then. So we have things here where we have people who are confident, who are comfortable. It could be to share things. I mean, you could feel more confident and comfortable with confronting things that you've seen before that don't make sense. That's okay too. But you don't need to use it to punish yourself for a time before when you didn't know. That's the thing. It's okay to admit that you didn't know. That's okay. But now that you do, how can you go from there? How can you be okay with how you walked away? How can you be okay with you stepping into that personal power? How can you be okay with how hard you worked to build for the things around you, especially when it came to investing in more stability that was more kinder to you, more kinder in your environment? I mean, there's loads of things even in my career that I'm like, holy crud, that I experienced years ago that I wouldn't deal with today. So as we get older, as we grow, we're going to always evolve. And when we look back, there's going to be times where we think that we were very naive. And it's because we were. We didn't have all the experiences from then until now. So be more forgiving of yourself. Maybe this is why you need rest. You need rest. You need to cleanse out. You need to see what you have accomplished. You know what's interesting, Leo, is when I moved, we're going to go on a detour just to let you know. When I moved, I kept all my pictures from the years that I had on my walls at the house that I used to rent. I kept them put away in a box. And like today, we're looking for a couple of flags. And my son, he's so tall, he's so strong now. I have him in my closet getting this big box down, reaching up to all the areas I can't reach to help me find these flags. And we find this box full of pictures, old pictures. My son is going to be 16 next month. He's my Leo. And my daughter is going to be 18 in December, and that's my Sagittarius. And they pulled out a box, or they pulled a picture out of the box that it was a family picture of me and both of them when they were little. he may have been like 2.5. She probably would have been around 3.5. And it was just like, holy moly, from then until now, we have faced so many things. And when he started to hang, because he wanted to hang the pictures up, it really brought into perspective how much time has passed and how much we have grown and we have changed from then until now. And it was because of all the different experiences. So when you look back at your cornucopia, look back at how hard you were working to try and create the stability for these others. Sometimes we can't help when life variables come in. We can't. But what we can help is being able to heal and forgive ourselves especially, and moving from there and processing, Leos. All right. Oh my goodness, I was not expecting this to come out, but holy moly, this was a story and a half. It's okay to feel your emotions. It's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to cleanse. And when I say cleanse, I really feel the sensation that you need to have a good cry. Whether man, woman, they, them, it, you need to give yourself permission to release it. And just, say how you feel. That's what I feel. Holy moly, this is bringing a lot of tears to my eyes. So yeah. Crying is a part of cleansing. So, we made it. We made it to the conclusion. Alright, so divine and universal energy. What are the positive messages that need to come out? Well, when it comes to you wanting to step into more of this high priestess energy, what you believe, and coupling that with your wisdom, we're going to face a darkness. We're going to face these fears that you're confused on. We're going to face these fears. And we are going to go through the storm of change. Storm of change and facing fears. Very confusing things to do. Very hard things to do. But it's something that you need to do. It's something that you need to sit down with your current community and do. You need to be honest with your current community. However this past affects your present moment and the community that's in this with you. There's something here that you need to express to your community when it comes to a raw emotional truth. This could be the very thing that helps cleanse you. This could be the thing that helps bring also the key to a realization for you. Especially when it came to this past connection and why you walked away from it. Why you had to make this diplomatic decision to get out of the nightmare it was. This could bring balance between the light and the dark for you. What has been versus where you have gone kind of thing. Acceptance, something that you're at odds ends with. Life is not always easy. Life is not always a bag full of daisies. There are some bittersweet moments in life, and then there are just some plain out dark moments in life where you deal with monsters. And this is one where you could be finding out about something that has to do with a monster. And the one thing that is needed is acceptance here. Acceptance of how everything has worked. how everything is going to still work out, how there's still time for things to work out, time for things to blossom, time for things to grow. Acceptance, kindness, mercy, and compassion is what is needed right now when dealing with the unexpected. Yeah, I really feel like you coming in and speaking your emotional truth with your current community, how you feel and stuff like this when it comes to this chaos that's been brought up. And now the chaos that you've been facing in your eternal home when you've been looking back on everything when it comes to this deceit. You know, we don't have to procrastinate. We don't have to feel insecure when it comes to having a real life, real emotional conversation with the ones that we love. It's something that could bring joy. It's definitely something that could end in confidence. It's something that can end in personal power. But how does that apply to this story, this lesson here? Well, when you're able to, what I'm hearing, atone, when you're able to acknowledge, process, and move forward from harsh truths instead of hiding from it. That whole saying, what happens at home stays in the home, was a big gateway to giving permission for traumas to be unprocessed. It gave permission for people to think that their emotions didn't matter. No matter how old you are, how young you are, how you feel matters. That's a part of who you are. And what I mentioned in the new moon, full moon interpretation is that our emotions help us be able to build the very foundations that we have in our eternal home when it comes to our beliefs, when it comes down to the ways that we operate, when it comes down to even how we build walls around things, or even the things that we hang on to for so long. A lot of it is tied to our emotional side. So with this, if you can be open to being vulnerable with your community here with this emotional side and challenging this fear of confronting this darkness and wanting to bring change. The change you want to bring here is an openness, an acceptance, one that's healing and growing, one where we realize things. We realize, how much we wanted things to work out different. And you know what? We realize if we could have did it different, we would have. But here we know that being present is the most important thing, instead of beating ourselves up about our past mistakes. Whoo-wee. This is a story and a half, Leo. I was not expecting this, but giving yourself permission, taking care of yourself, especially on the days where the chaos seems its worst, making sure to ground yourself out with eating food, making sure to ground out that emotional being with drinking water, keeping yourself hydrated, and making sure to do breathing exercises for that mental side to you. Because when we are running at high emotions, we tend not to breathe very well, which will help increase our anxieties as well. But this is all for entertainment purposes. Don't forget that. So, Leo, thank you so much for being the first ones up with this cycle here this time around. I want to thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, and spirit guides for coming in and laying down this raw truth here Honestly, they want to see you heal. This is why it's being brought up. It is time for you to ascend to another level. Don't forget to thank divine and universal energy as well, if I didn't say that. And I hope, Leo, that you have a most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.